The galaxy trembles under the weight of the Empire's rule. Its vast fleets darken the skies of countless worlds. The oppressive arm of an ancient power stretches far and wide, crushing every species that dares to stand against it. The Empire is not just a military force. It is a symbol of absolute control, a testament to the belief that no species can ever challenge the might of the imperial machine. Entire civilizations have been reduced to dust under their boot heels, and those that remain are forced into submission, bowing to an authority that leaves no room for defiance. The people of the galaxy know their place. They know that resistance is futile, and that to speak against the Empire is to sign one's death warrant. Rebellion is a distant dream, something whispered in the dark corners of the universe by those who have nothing left to lose. But in the darkness of these corners, there are those who refuse to bow to the Empire's might. There are those who still remember what it means to fight for freedom in the heart of humanity. A small group of rebels has gathered. Its numbers are few and its resources even fewer, but its spirit is unbreakable. They are the ones who still believe that the Empire can be overthrown. Their headquarters is hidden deep within the wreckage of a forgotten moon, once a thriving hub of trade. It is now a hollow shell, abandoned by all but those who dare to challenge the Empire's rule. The rebels live in the shadows, working tirelessly to gather intelligence and form alliances with the broken species that have been left to suffer at the Empire's hands. They know that the first step to defeating the Empire is to understand it, and so they send their operatives into the heart of the Empire to learn its secrets, to uncover its weaknesses. The rebels are not naive. They know the risks, they know the dangers that come with standing up against such a powerful foe, but they also know that if they do not act now, the galaxy will fall forever under the Empire's rule. Among them is a man named Elias Winters, a former officer in the Imperial military, who has turned against his former masters after witnessing firsthand the horrors they are capable of. Elias is a strategist, a mind that sees beyond the battlefield and into the heart of conflict. He has studied the Empire's every move, and he knows that their power lies not in their armies or fleets, but in their communication systems. The Empire controls everything through its ability to issue commands and maintain order. Without it, they would be nothing. Elias has spent years building a plan that could bring the Empire to its knees, but it will take more than just strategy to win. It will take sacrifices and a willingness to embrace the unknown. The rebellion's chances of success are slim, but Elias knows that this is their only chance. If they fail, the galaxy will fall into the Empire's grip forever. The rebels have gathered in secret to hear Elias' plan. His voice cuts through the silence of their meeting room and fills the air with an energy that has long been absent. They listen intently as he lays out the details of his bold idea. They know the risk, they know the cost, but they also know that this is the beginning of something much larger than themselves. It is the beginning of a war that will shake the very foundations of the Empire and change the course of history forever. The time for silence is over. The time for action has arrived. The quiet hum of the rebel base is shattered by the arrival of the intelligence report. It's a small data chip, nothing more than a glimmer of hope in the vast sea of despair, but it holds within it the potential to shift the balance of power in the galaxy. The operatives have returned from the heart of the Empire after infiltrating one of its most secure facilities. They have gathered a fragment of knowledge that could be the key to ending the Empire's reign of terror forever. The chip is placed into a terminal, and the screen flickers to life, revealing schematics that defy belief at first. It's hard to comprehend what they're seeing. It seems almost impossible. The Empire's control isn't based solely on its armies or its warships, but something much more insidious, a network that spans the galaxy, a system that links every Imperial ship, every Imperial officer, every command center into a single unified network. A network that can issue commands instantly to every corner of the Empire's domain. The chip reveals a truth so powerful, so dangerous, that it takes a moment for the rebels to understand the implications. The Empire's command structure is not only centralized, but it is entirely dependent on this network. Without it, the Empire's fleets are nothing more than scattered fragments drifting in space. Without orders, their officers become mere figureheads, unable to issue commands or organize their forces. The Empire's control comes not from its might, but from its ability to maintain a stranglehold on communication. It is a force of silence, a power that lies in the stillness of obedience. The operatives had stumbled upon this discovery by accident. They were searching for something else entirely when they uncovered the truth hidden deep within the Empire's communication archives. The data suggests that the key to dismantling the Empire lies in its own system of control. By breaking or severing the connection between the Empire's forces and the central command, it could render the entire Empire powerless. Every fleet, every soldier, every ship would be lost adrift, without guidance, without purpose. The implications are staggering. If they can sever this connection, they will have struck at the heart of the Empire's power without firing a single shot, without ever directly facing its fleets or armies. The very infrastructure of the Empire would collapse in on itself, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy would have a chance at freedom. Elias Winters examines the data with a sharp eye, his mind racing through the possibilities. He understands the significance of what they have discovered. It's the perfect weapon against the Empire's seemingly invincible might. But it is also an extremely dangerous gambit, one that could easily backfire if they fail. If they misstep, the consequences could be catastrophic. If they cannot regain control after severing the connection, the galaxy could plunge into anarchy. The rebellion's leadership gathers around as Elias outlines the plan. He is careful with his words, knowing that this discovery could be the turning point in their fight. But it is also a double-edged sword. The task is daunting and fraught with peril. They must infiltrate the Empire's homeworld, where the central hub of the communication network resides, and within its walls is the device that controls the Empire's silent command system. The timing must be perfect. The plan must be executed flawlessly. If they fail, the rebellion could be wiped out in an instant. If they succeed, the Empire will be reduced to a shadow of its former self, its power crumbling in the face of human ingenuity and defiance. The rebels are afraid, but they also know this is their one and only chance to strike at the Empire's heart. And in that moment, they all understand that the galaxy's fate rests on their shoulders. The silence of the Empire must be shattered before it can swallow them all. Captain Elias Winters stands before the gathered rebels, his face hard as stone, his mind racing with calculations. His plan is bold and impossible. It is a gamble that could either bring about the liberation of the galaxy or plunge them all into an even deeper darkness. But the alternative is worse. If they do nothing, the Empire will continue to crush all resistance until the very concept of freedom is lost to history. The room is filled with uncertainty. Some eyes are filled with fear, while others burn with determination. They know the risks, they know the cost. But Elias has given them a vision of a galaxy free from the Empire's chokehold, a galaxy where their children can live without the shadow of tyranny hanging over them. His voice cuts through the tension. He begins to explain the plan in detail. The central hub of the Empire's communication network is located on its homeworld, a fortress planet surrounded by the most powerful defenses in the galaxy. The entire world is a military stronghold, a fortress so heavily guarded that even the Empire's most trusted officers rarely venture there. It is a place where the power of the Empire is concentrated into one single point, and it is there that the rebellion must strike. Elias knows the odds are insurmountable, the mission is suicidal, but he also knows that the reward is worth the risk. The Empire's command network is the key to their dominance, and if they can sever that key, they will shatter the entire structure of imperial power. But reaching the hub will be the greatest challenge they've ever faced. The plan is as follows. They will infiltrate the homeworld under the guise of a small-scale raid, distracting the Empire's defenses long enough for a select team to infiltrate the core of the communication center. Elias will lead the team himself, knowing that no one else has the combination of skill and knowledge necessary to succeed. He is the only one who understands the true nature of the Empire's command system. He is the only one who can disable it from the inside. The rebellion's fleet will stage an attack on the outer defenses of the planet, creating the illusion of a full-scale assault, while Elias and his team make their way through the heavily fortified corridors of the command center. The mission will be a race against time. With every moment that passes, the Empire's forces will close, and the rebellion cannot afford to be detected. If they fail, there will be no second chance. Elias turns to the team, his eyes meeting theirs. Each one of them is a seasoned fighter. Each one has sacrificed everything for this moment. but none of them can fully understand what is at stake. None of them can fathom the scale of the gamble they are about to take. He speaks quietly, but with authority. They all know the risks. They all know that the fate of the galaxy lies in their hands. But there is something in Elias's voice, something that gives them hope, even in the face of certain death. The fire of rebellion burns brightly in their hearts, and in that moment they all know that they are about to make history. They are about to strike the Empire at its core. With one final nod, Elias signals the team to move out. The rebellion's plan is in motion, and there is no turning back now. They will either succeed and bring the Empire to its knees, or they will be crushed beneath the weight of its power. The silence of the Empire is deafening, but the rebels know they are about to break it forever. The rebel fleet approaches the Empire's homeworld under the cover of darkness. The stars above seem distant and cold, as if they themselves understand the danger that lies ahead. The fleet is small compared to the vast armada of the Empire, but its mission is clear: create chaos and distract the Empire's forces long enough for Elias Winters and his team to infiltrate the heart of the communication network. They are outnumbered and outgunned, but they have something the Empire does not. They have ingenuity and the will to fight for freedom. As the fleet nears the planet, the tension is palpable. The crew aboard each ship is silent, awaiting the signal to begin their assault. Every rebel knows that this is a one-way mission. There is no retreat. There is no backup. If they fail, the rebellion will be crushed, and the Empire will remain unchallenged for centuries to come. The stakes could not be higher. Elias stands on the bridge of a commandeered Imperial warship. The ship is a relic of the Empire's vast arsenal, a formidable weapon in its own right. But to Elias, it is just another piece in a larger puzzle, a tool to be used in the grand plan. He watches as the fleet positions itself around the planet. The plan is set in motion. The rebels will strike fast and hard, launching a series of decoy attacks across the outer defenses of the planet to keep the Empire's attention focused on the wrong targets. The first wave of attacks hits the outer defenses with the fury of 1,000 storms. The Empire's response is immediate. The battle stations light up as their forces scramble to defend their planet. They did not expect such a bold assault so close to their homeworld. They are caught off guard. The Empire's vast fleet of warships forms a defensive perimeter, but the rebels are quick and unpredictable. Their small ships dart in and out of the enemy formations like shadows on the run. The chaos is exactly what Elias had hoped for. It creates the perfect cover for his team's infiltration mission. Elias and his team are ready. They have disguised themselves as low-ranking officers to slip past the outer security layers and enter the heavily guarded corridors of the communication hub. The path ahead is treacherous. With every step they take, the risk of discovery grows higher. The Empire's security is unparalleled. Their cameras and sensors are everywhere. There is no margin for error. One misstep could mean the end for them all. The rebels move with precision, like a well-oiled machine, each member of the team playing their part perfectly. The facility's security is tight, but their training has prepared them for this moment. They know how to move silently, how to avoid detection, how to disable the systems that might expose their presence. They navigate the winding corridors of the Imperial Command Center with a quiet intensity, knowing that every second counts. As they approach the heart of the complex, Elias's mind races. He can feel the weight of the mission bearing down on him. This is it. This is the moment where everything changes. If they succeed, they will have shattered the very foundation of the Empire's power. But if they fail, they will be just another footnote in history, forgotten and defeated. The silence of the building is deafening. Every sound feels amplified. Every footstep echoes in the narrow halls like a drumbeat of impending doom. But Elias is calm, his focus absolute. He leads the team with steady hands and a clear mind. They have come this far, and there is no turning back now. They reach the central hub, the terminal that controls the Empire's entire communication network. It looms before them, a massive piece of technology that has kept the galaxy under the Empire's control for centuries. Elias places his hand on the terminal's interface. His fingers hover above the controls, knowing that the fate of millions rests on his next move. With a single breath, he prepares to make the final choice, to unleash a command that could bring the Empire to its knees and change the galaxy forever. The team stands frozen for a moment in front of the terminal. The weight of the mission presses down on them, Like a physical force, the silence of the room is suffocating. Every member of the team knows what this moment means, the culmination of everything they've fought for, all the sacrifices made, and the lives lost have led to this single point in time. Elias Winters stands at the center of it all, his mind sharp and focused despite the pressure. The mission is simple in theory, but the stakes are anything but simple. If they fail, this will be the end of the rebellion, and the galaxy will remain under the Empire's grip forever. Elias places his fingers on the terminal's interface, his heart pounding in his chest, every instinct telling him to hesitate. But he knows that there is no time for hesitation. If they wait too long, the Empire's forces will regroup and discover their presence, and the chance will be lost forever. The rebellion's distraction is only a temporary shield. Their window of opportunity is closing rapidly. He presses a sequence of buttons. The interface lights up with a cold mechanical hum, and a map of the Empire's communication network appears on the screen. Elias studies it, quickly scanning for the control node that regulates the entire system. It's a single point in space, a heart of darkness, where the command of every Imperial vessel originates. If they sever the connection here, it will send shockwaves through the entire Empire, rendering its forces powerless. The team is tense around him, waiting for any sign of failure. But Elias continues to work undeterred. His fingers move with precision as he enters the final sequence of commands, each one taking them a step closer to their goal. Their hearts race as the seconds tick by, and the hum of the terminal grows louder. And then the terminal shuts down abruptly. The screen goes black, and the room falls into complete silence. Elias's breath catches in his throat. His mind races, wondering if something has gone wrong. But before he can react, the lights flicker back on, and the screen blinks to life again, this time showing a new interface, one that is completely foreign to him. It's not the Empire's system, it's something else entirely. The rebels exchange confused glances, but Elias remains calm. He leans forward and starts inputting commands again, trying to make sense of the system. He is interfacing with his mind, working furiously. The new interface seems to be a fail-safe, a secondary control network designed to protect the Empire's communication hub from unauthorized access. But Elias's fingers fly over the controls, his knowledge of Imperial technology giving him the edge he needs to override the system piece by piece. The tension in the room is unbearable. The team can hear the sounds of distant footsteps and the faint hum of approaching Imperial officers. Their time is running out. Elias feels the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders, but his resolve does not waver. Each keystroke brings them closer to their goal. Each second feels like a lifetime. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the system begins to respond to his commands. The secondary network begins to fracture under his control, and with a final burst of effort, Elias sends the command that will sever the Empire's communication link once and for all. For a moment, everything goes still. The terminal blinks for a second longer than it should, and then suddenly, the entire complex is filled with a deafening silence. The sound of the Empire's command structure has gone silent. Their fleet, their forces, all drift in a limbo as the system fails. The silence that follows is more terrifying than any battle could ever be. The silence is like a wave crashing over the galaxy, a vast and unshakable stillness that spreads out from the heart of the Empire's communications hub. It starts slow, a subtle shift, but then the ripples begin to spread outward, and the Empire's once impervious infrastructure starts to tremble and crack across the galaxy. Imperial warships come to a halt. Their engines sputter as their command signals vanish. The officers aboard them are left staring at their screens, confused and helpless. With no orders to follow, no communications to guide their next move, the might of the Empire is paralyzed without its commands. It is a giant without direction. The chaos begins almost immediately. The communication channels between Imperial forces fall into disarray. The once perfect coordination between fleets and outposts crumbles away, and in its place grows an eerie sense of confusion. The Empire's leaders scramble, trying to regain control, but without their centralized network, they are scattered like ants, unable to work together or respond. As one, the fleets lose their formations, the soldiers stop marching in step. The Empire's power vanishes like smoke in the wind. Back at the command center, Elias watches the screen as the once sturdy foundation of the Empire trembles. The silence is deafening. Even here in the heart of their stronghold, the hum of the terminal now seems like an intrusion on the stillness. His team stands behind him, their eyes wide with disbelief as they process what they've just witnessed. This is the moment they have been working toward. The Empire's communications network has been severed, and with it the command structure has fallen apart. The tension in the room is thick, but it's not just fear that grips their hearts, it's awe. They know that the Empire is crumbling, but they also know that they are on the edge of something far greater than they could have ever imagined. The rebellion's one hope is now a reality. The Empire is no longer the invincible force it once was, and the galaxy now belongs to those who dare to fight for it. But the mission isn't over yet. The team has done their part. They have broken the Empire's control. But the next challenge is just beginning. Elias knows that if the Empire's forces are left to their own devices, they could still regroup and reorganize. They will need to strike quickly while the confusion is still fresh, to keep the Empire in chaos long enough for the rebellion to seize the advantage. Elias activates the secure communication channel to the rebel fleet. The plan must be set in motion immediately. The signal goes out, and within moments the rebellion's fleet launches a series of full-scale attacks on the Imperial strongholds across the galaxy. The Empire's weakened defenses are unable to respond effectively. Their ships drift aimlessly, unable to rally under a single leader. The rebellion's ships take advantage of the chaos, striking quickly and decisively. The battlefronts erupt in a frenzy as the rebellion pushes forward, gaining ground on world after world. The Imperial forces are scattered and directionless, their once unstoppable power now a shadow of its former self. The rebellion's attacks are swift and efficient. They cut through Imperial forces like a knife through butter. The Empire's unyielding grip on the galaxy is now nothing more than a fragile memory. Back on the homeworld, Elias and his team make their final escape. The mission was a success, but the war is far from over. As they make their way back to their ship, Elias can't help but feel a strange sense of disbelief. The galaxy is slipping from the Empire's grasp, but the fight is far from won. It's only just begun. The silence that has taken hold of the Empire will not last forever. The rebellion must press on and finish what they have started before the Empire can find its feet and rise again. As Elias looks out into the vastness of space, he knows that the galaxy has changed forever, and the rebellion's victory will be written in the stars. The galaxy is in chaos, but it is a chaos that is far from random. It is the sound of the Empire's long reign crumbling piece by piece as rebel forces press forward, taking advantage of every opening, every flaw in the Empire's now fractured systems. The rebellion's fleet strikes relentlessly at Imperial outposts and strongholds across the galaxy. There is no longer a unified response from the Empire. Its forces are scattered and confused. Leaders struggle to take charge, but with no communication to guide them, they are blind men groping in the dark. Elias and his team make their way back to the rebel fleet. Their mission is complete, but the war is far from over. Their escape from the Empire's heart was narrow, the alarms blaring as they made their way through the complex still ringing in their ears. They had evaded capture by mere seconds, and now they have only one goal: return to the rebellion's leadership and guide them through the next phase of their plan. As they board the transport ship that will carry them to safety, Elias watches the chaotic dance of stars outside the viewport. The vastness of space has never seemed so full of possibility or danger. Before, they had been shadows moving in the dark, a small group fighting against an unyielding force. Now the rebellion is more than just a flicker of light in the darkness. It is a blaze spreading across the galaxy. With the Empire's command structure in tatters, the rebellion's momentum is growing faster and stronger than ever before. But Elias knows better than to think victory is within their grasp. Just yet the Empire will not fall so easily. It still holds power through sheer numbers and brute force. Its remaining warships will rally its forces and counterattack with every resource they have left. The path forward is clear, but it is also fraught with danger. The rebellion cannot afford to be complacent. They must act quickly while the Empire is in disarray. They must take advantage of this brief window of opportunity before the Empire can reorganize and regroup its shattered forces, Elias contacts the rebellion's leadership as they approach the fleet and begins to outline the next steps. They must strike the Empire's remaining strongholds with everything they have, while its leaders fight to regain control of their forces. Every world they liberate is another piece of the puzzle, another step toward defeating the Empire for good. But the rebellion cannot afford to go in blind. They need more intelligence and more allies. They need to understand what's left of the Empire's military structure, how its leaders are planning their next moves, and how to keep the momentum of this war moving forward. As Elias briefs the Council on the state of the galaxy, he can feel the weight of every word. His responsibility now weighs heavier than ever. The rebellion's victory depends on how well they can capitalize on this moment of confusion, and how quickly they can rally the support of those who have been oppressed for so long. They need the strength of those who still believe in freedom, the people who have been forced to live under the Empire's thumb for generations. The next phase of the rebellion's plan will not be easy. It will take everything they have, every ounce of courage, every moment of strategy, every sacrifice. But Elias knows they are not just fighting for a galaxy, they are fighting for something more. They are fighting for a future where silence is no longer the weapon of oppression, but the sound of a people free to speak their minds, free to live their lives without fear. And as the rebellion's fleet accelerates toward their next target, Elias knows that the battle is far from over, but for the first time in years he feels something new: hope. The final stage of the rebellion's campaign is upon them. With the Empire's command structure shattered, the galaxy is a battlefield of uncertainty, but also of hope. The rebellion has carved a path through the darkness, its forces growing stronger by the day as more worlds rise up to challenge the Empire's tyranny. Elias and his team stand at the forefront of this fight, the weight of leadership heavy on their shoulders, but the fire of revolution burning brighter than ever before. Every victory adds fuel to their cause. Every liberated world strengthens their resolve. Elias watches from the command center of the flagship as the rebellion's fleet engages in skirmishes across the galaxy. The Empire is trying to reassemble its forces, but the damage has been done. Its fleets are fractured, its leadership divided. Without the command network that once bound them together, they are like a snake without its head, struggling to find direction. Elias looks to his left, where the council of rebel leaders sits. The room is filled with plans and strategy, but also with the quiet determination of those who know this is their last chance to strike the Empire down once and for all. There can be no more hesitation, no more waiting for the perfect moment. The time to act is now, and every rebel knows that the outcome of this final push will determine the future of the galaxy. The Empire's remaining strongholds are scattered, but they are not without power. The rebels have gained momentum, but the final phase of the war will not be easy. It will take every ounce of strength and ingenuity. They have to pierce the heart of the Empire and bring it to its knees. The rebellion's strategy is clear. They must target the last bastions of Imperial control, destroy the Empire's remaining fleets, and eliminate the final holdouts that threaten the galaxy's freedom. Elias is aware that the next battle could very well be their last, but he feels no fear, only the cold clarity of purpose. This is what they have fought for, the chance to end the tyranny that has plagued the galaxy for centuries. The Empire's grip is slipping, but it will not let go easily. It will fight to the last soldier, to the last ship, to the last world. But the rebellion has something the Empire does not. It has the will of the people, the strength of those who refuse to be silenced any longer. As the fleet makes its way toward the Empire's last stronghold, Elias stands tall at the helm, his mind focused on the task ahead. The next few hours will determine everything. The strategy is set, the ships are in position, the final battle is about to begin. The sky above the battlefield is a swirling mass of stars and warships. The silence that once hung over the Empire is now replaced by the roar of conflict, the clash of ships, the explosion of weapons. As the rebellion surges forward to claim victory, the Empire fights back with everything it has, but its strength is waning. Its warships fall one by one, its defenses crumble under the relentless assault of the rebel forces. In the final moments of the battle, Elias stands alongside his team, watching as the Empire's command center falls silent for the last time. With a single stroke, the rebellion has shattered the last remnants of the Empire's power. The silence is broken forever. The galaxy is free, but at a cost. The rebellion has won, but the war has left scars deep within the hearts of those who fought and sacrificed their lives for this moment. As Elias looks out across the battlefield, he knows that this victory is not the end, but the beginning of a new era, one that will require rebuilding, healing, and forging a future from the ashes of war. But for now the silence is no more, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy has a chance to breathe again.